Welcome friends. Let's start with chapter 2. This is the class 9 geography second chapter. So atmosphere, structure, air pressure and wind system we'll study today. Okay, let's start with atmospheric pressure and measurement. We are starting this chapter from the half portion. So starting with atmospheric pressure and its measurement. So what is pressure? We know that pressure is the force exerted by the air, that is called the air pressure. So pressure we always express in millibar. Okay, so we know that what is the average pressure at sea level? Average pressure at sea level is 1013.2 millibar. So if we discuss the pressure in pound, that means 14.2 pound per square kilometer. Okay, that means if we express the inch, then 29.92 inch is equal to 76 centimeter, or that means in this average pressure level 1013.2 millibar, that is only in the 15 degrees Celsius. If temperature will be different, then pressure will be different. So in 15 degrees actually average temperature we take 15 degrees Celsius. So in 15 degrees Celsius the temperature is always 1013.2 millibar. But why we measure the pressure always at the sea level? We could measure at the land level also, in the mountainous area also, in desert area also. Why? Because sea level is a uniform surface. There is no any ups and downs or no any disturbances. But in generally in land area, mountain is there, vegetation is there, any valley is there. That means so many ups and downs are there. That's why we don't measure the pressure in the these ups and downs level. That is a rugged topography. In rugged topography like terrain or any other areas, so we don't measure. But due to this uniformity in the sea level, because sea level their temperature is always remain same for a large area. Okay, so that's why we measure the pressure at the sea level to get the uniform pressure level. So generally in 15 degrees Celsius, but in 20 degrees Celsius, 25 degrees Celsius, 30 degrees Celsius, again pressure will be different. And again pressure is varies from place to place. Again over the sea surface also, it is depends on the salinity. If salinity, that means the salt present in the water. If salinity will be different, again temperature will be different, again pressure will be different. So like that from all the water bodies from place to place, or all the land surface place to place, pressure varies. Okay, so let's start with that why the pressure is vary from place to place. What are the different factors of the variation of the pressure? So in every place of the earth surface their pressure is different. Over the equatorial region pressure is different, over the tropical region pressure is different, again over the polar area pressure is totally high. Okay, so there is low pressure region, high pressure region, there is so many low pressure, high pressure regions are there. So why pressure is vary from place to place? So there are some factors are here. Okay, let's see. This is the world, this is the equator, 0 degree. Over the equator temperature is so high, that's why there is pressure is low. So there are some factors. We'll discuss about the factors of variation of the pressure, variation of air pressure. Generally there are two factors. Number one is surface elevation, or air. First one is the air temperature. Air temperature. Number two is the surface elevation. What is the meaning of elevation? Elevation means height or altitude of the place. So if temperature is high, then pressure will be low. Why temperature is high, pressure will be low? Because over this high temperature, always we know that that is due to high temperature, air always rise down, right? When air always rise up, then what happens? Air extend to some certain limit or certain directions. That what happens when the air expand, then the weight of the air becomes lighter and lighter and lighter. So due to light air, what will happen? Light air can give the more pressure. Only heavy air or dense air can give the more pressure. So light air gives the always low pressure. So due to high temperature here, over the equatorial region, we know that the temperature always exceeds to 40 to 42 degrees Celsius. Sometimes one of the places there, Al Azizia. I think you have heard this. Al Azizia. So that place, 58 degrees Celsius ever recorded temperature. Temperature is so high, Al Azizia. So what happens due to vertical sunlight? Over the equator, sunlight is always vertical. So due to vertical sunlight, here temperature is high, and due to high temperature, air gets raised up. Air moves upward. So air can settle down. Why? Because when high temperature get inside the air, then it rises up slowly and slowly. Then it expands to a certain limit and certain directions. Then what will happen? It gives the low pressure. So that's why over the equator that is low pressure, and it is called the equatorial low pressure belt. We'll learn about this. What is the equatorial low pressure belt? When we will study the permanent pressure belt, definitely we will learn about this. Okay. So due to high air temperature, if the temperature is high, air pressure will be low. So you can remember high temperature, low pressure, low temperature, high pressure. High temperature, low pressure, low temperature, high pressure. Okay. Then again come to the surface elevation. So in the polar region the pressure is high. Here is high pressure. Why pressure is high? Because of the low temperature. Because why low temperature? Because due to the slanting sunlight. Suppose this is the sun. Okay. Sunlight is vertical over the equator. Again, up to the pole, up to the polar areas, both North Pole and the South Pole, temperature, the sunlight is always slanting. That is not vertical. So because of slanting, that means direction is here. The distance is more. Here up to the equator, the distance is means little bit lower than these polar regions. So that's why what happened due to slanting sunlight. This polar region and the subpolar region, this is subpolar region. Again, this is subtropical region. So this subtropical region, subpolar region always receive the low sunlight. That means low temperature. So due to that low temperature, there will be high pressure. Low temperature, there will be high pressure. So that is the concept only. So wherever temperature is high, pressure will be low. Wherever temperature will be low, pressure will be high. Okay. Then next move to the next factor, surface elevation. What is the meaning of elevation? Elevation means altitude. That means okay, this is the mountain. This is the mountain top. Okay, suppose this is the valley. Okay. So surface elevation. Elevation means what? Elevation means height. Elevation means height. So when we move from lower level to the higher level, we get low pressure. Pressure decreases. Okay. So why? Because in the lower level, about the lower level, there are high density of the air. High density. Why high density? Because of the gravitational force. Because all the air particles just here in the settle down near to the surface. That's why over here density is high. Density means the per cubic meter, the amount of the air is high. So that's why pressure is high over here, over the valley. And when it goes up, their pressure decreases. That means pressure is low. So that due to high elevation, so we get the there is the differentiation in the pressure. So we have 4 permanent pressure belts over the earth's surface. So we'll study what are the 4 permanent pressure belts. This is the globe, this is the equator, this is the tropical region, this is subtropical region, and this is polar region. Okay, this is equatorial belt. Over the equatorial belt. Over equatorial belt, what happened? Due to already I have told you we have discussed is over the equatorial belt. Due to high temperature, pressure is always low. So we'll write here equatorial low pressure belt. Equatorial low. So over the tropical high, over the tropical region, that is pressure is high. That's why it is called tropical high. Why tropical high? Because here density is high. Okay, density of the air is high. And here over the subpolar region, that is polar region, below the region is called subpolar region, that is called subpolar low and polar high pressure belt. That is polar high, subpolar low, tropical high, equatorial low. That means low, high, low, high. You can remember like this: low, high, low, high, low pressure, high pressure, low pressure, high pressure, like that. Okay, same thing. When you go to the south pole, this is south pole, this is north pole. Same thing, north pole and south pole direction is same. Sorry, characteristics are same. In the southern hemisphere, again there will be tropical high. Again in the subpolar region, again pressure will be low. That is called the subpolar low. Again in the polar region, that is high, polar high. So again low, high, low, high. Okay, so these are the permanent pressure belt of the earth surface. So these belts are never changed, but they shift their place from one place to another. Sometimes this low pressure goes upward, again high pressure moves upward, again low pressure again. So due to this movement or rotation of the earth, sometimes this shifting of the air pressure belt takes place, but generally these are the permanent pressure belt, never change. Okay. Okay, so we have got 4 permanent pressure belt. Number 1 is the equatorial low pressure belt. Number 2, tropical high pressure belt. Number 3, subtropical low pressure belt. Number 4, polar high pressure belt. So these are the permanent pressure belt. So we will discuss one by one what are the characteristics, why there is low pressure in the equatorial region, why there is high pressure in the tropical region, why there is low pressure in the subtropical region, why there is high pressure in the polar region. Okay, now let's see this diagram. Okay, this is the equatorial region. Here characteristics are simple. Because of high temperature, pressure is low. Because of high temperature. Okay, but this is the most important. Why tropical region has the high pressure? Why tropical region has high pressure? Because when air is heated in this equatorial region, it rises up and it slowly moves towards the tropical region. So here, due to movement of air from equatorial region to the tropical region, in this equatorial region, the pressure gets, the amount of the air gets decreased, and here they only gives the low pressure, and all the air moves towards the tropical region, and in this tropical region the amount of the air is more, volume of the air is more, and what will happen here? Density will be more, the air density will be more. After that, if the air density is high, then it will give the high pressure. Okay, so because of movement of the air from tropical region to the equatorial region to the tropical region, in this tropical region air density is high. Due to high air density, the tropical region has the high pressure. If the question will come, why the air density is high over tropical region? Because of high air density. Why the pressure is high over tropical region? Because of high air density. Okay, so same thing happens in the southern hemisphere. Here also tropical high, pressure is high. Okay, next in this subtropical region, subtropical low pressure belt, this one polar high. So why there is low pressure in the subtropical region? Because again what happens here in this portion, the due to effects of the westerlies is there. Again due to influence of the Coriolis force, the again air moves towards the tropical region. Again sometimes air moves towards the polar region. So in this region air gets totally absent in the subpolar region. So if the air will be absent, then there will be no pressure. Actually the density of the air decreases and it gives the low pressure. That's why in the subtropical region pressure is low. Again same thing happens from the subpolar regions to the this is subpolar. From the subpolar region to the polar region, again air moves. Again in the polar region the amount of the air is high. Again due to high amount the density of the air is high. So due to high air density in polar region, that is high pressure. Again another factor is there because of slanting sunlight. This is sun. The sunlight falls slightly obliquely. So that's why what happens there, it receives a low amount of the temperature, and due to low amount of the temperature, pressure is always high. Okay. Okay, now let's move to the next topic, that is wind. That is wind. So what is wind? Wind is, we know that horizontal movement of the air is called wind. So horizontal movement of the air is called wind. Again there are some permanent winds are there. Some permanent winds are there, that is westerly. Westerlies, that means it comes from the western direction. Okay, easterly, it comes from the eastern direction. Okay, some seasonal winds are there, that is called a trade wind. We have heard about north southwest trade wind. Why it is called trade wind? Because it moves from one place to the another. Okay, from one region to the another region. That's why it is called a trade wind. Then northeast trade wind. Okay. Again, this seasonal wind. Again, monsoon will come. Monsoon wind. Again, some other local winds are here. Some local winds like Loo. It blows in the northern part of the India. Next is Sirocco, Chinook in the Alps. Okay, so these are the local winds. Now we'll see what are the factors of origin and the movement of wind. What are the factors of direction and origin and the movement of wind? Okay, so factors of origin and the movement of wind. Some factors are there. Number one is pressure gradient force. Number two is gravitational force. 3 is frictional force. Number 4 is centrifugal force or Coriolis force. Or centrifugal force. So let's see what is pressure gradient force. Pressure gradient force means the movement of wind from one region to the other region, means from high pressure to the low pressure, because we know that wind always moves from high pressure to low pressure. So force generated when the from high pressure, when the wind will move from high pressure to the low pressure region, then one force generated, one type of force generated, that is called the pressure gradient force. That means the pressure is always difference, or velocity is always different when the places, distance of the places increases or decreases. Suppose wind is moving from this high pressure to low pressure region, and again wind is moving to this high pressure to low pressure region. Then what will happen? Here in this two point of region, the distance is less than comparing to this region, and here distance is more, here distance is less. So what will happen? If the distance is low, then here pressure gradient force will be high. If the distance is high, then pressure gradient force will be low. So that means what? The force generated due to movement of wind from one place to another between two regions. Okay, that is called the pressure gradient force. So what will happen? Suppose wind is moving from this place to that place. If it is just covering short direction, means short distance, then what will happen? The force will be, or velocity will be high. Again, what will happen? If the distance is more, distance will be increased, then what will happen? Again, velocity will be low, because here distance is high. Okay, so that is called the pressure gradient force. The next is the gravitational force. What is the gravitational force? Gravitational force means just where the place where the density of the air will be high. Okay, then what will happen? Suppose this is a mountain area. Suppose this is a mountain area. Okay, so what will happen? Here density of the air is high. Why density of the air is high? Higher density, because of the gravitational pull, gravitational force, because in the air settle down in the lower level. That means what will happen? Here, due to high amount of the air density, pressure will be high. Here will be high pressure. Again here, due to low air density, again pressure will be low. Now what will happen? From this high to low, high pressure to low pressure, again wind will move. That means from valley to mountain, wind will move. That is called the valley breeze. Sometimes it is called the mountain. If the wind will move from mountain to valley, it is called mountain breeze. If the wind will move from valley to mountain, that is called the valley breeze. Now air density is high over the valley. That means the wind is moving from high pressure to low pressure, that is valley breeze. Okay. The next is the frictional force. What is that friction? So when wind make friction with something, suppose there might be some mountain, some vegetations, any tall buildings, or any natural phenomena like that. So what happens? Suppose here one mountain is there, some vegetations are there. These are the vegetations. Suppose winds are coming from this direction. So this will call what? Windward. This is called windward side. Windward side means the direction from where the wind is coming, that is called the windward. And where the wind is going, that is called the leeward side. This direction wind is going, that is wind is moving, that is called the leeward side. So what will happen? Suppose wind is coming in a high velocity. Okay. So what will happen? After starting over this mountain, the velocity will decrease. Why? Because it has got the friction with this mountain, or any vegetations, or any buildings, or any natural phenomenon. So due to this frictional force, that means frictional force changes the direction, changes the velocity of the wind. Okay. So these are the factors of origin, movement, wind, and velocity also. Velocity also. Okay. And next is the Coriolis force. This is the most important. This Coriolis force concept was given by Gaspard de Coriolis. is the Coriolis force. It is given by Gaspar de Coriolis in 1844. Okay. What is that Coriolis force? That is also called a centrifugal force. Centrifugal force means sometimes Earth's rotation creates the force towards outside. That is called centrifugal. That means suppose this is the Earth. We know that Earth always moves from west to east. Suppose Earth is moving in this direction. So what will happen? Again, one opposite force will be created. Okay, that is called Coriolis force. Coriolis force means this this scientist has given this concept. That's why it is called the Coriolis force. So means if the wind is going in this direction, because we know that every action means has an opposite an equal direction. That means what? Wind is moving to this direction, again opposite force will be created. So that is called a Coriolis force. And this due to opposite force, due to this centrifugal force, wind direction changes. Suppose wind is coming from this direction. What will happen? Coriolis forces moving means pushing, or these winds are deflecting in this direction. That means what? This again wind direction will be changed. Earlier actually origin direction was wind was moving from this direction to this direction, but due to this Coriolis force or this opposite force, this wind got deflected. Now wind is moving to this direction. Sometimes it moves to clockwise, it moves to anti-clockwise. Generally wind moves clockwise in northern hemisphere. Clockwise, that means in the direction of the clock, and anti-clockwise in the opposite direction of the clock. So generally wind moves clockwise in the northern hemisphere, and in the southern hemisphere it moves anti-clockwise. Okay. So let's move to the next topic, naming and the measurement of the wind. Naming and the measurement of wind. So we have heard about westerly, easterly, this northeastern trade wind, southeastern trade wind. So these are the names given according to the direction of the wind. That means westerly blows here in 30 degree to 40, 30 degree to 60 degree south latitude. Here again 30 to 60 degree north latitude. Okay, so westerly blows here. That means the winds are coming from west. That's why it is called the westerlies. Blows in this direction like this. Okay, so here velocity of the wind is high. That's why westerly is called what? Roaring 40s. Roaring 40s. It makes sounds like roar. Roar is the sound of the lion. So roaring 40s. 40s means it blows in the 40 degrees Celsius. 40 degree latitude. 40 degree south latitude. Again, when it reaches to the 50 degree latitude, again it velocity again increases. That is called a furious 50s. Furious, dangerous. Again screaming 60s. Again in 60 degree latitude, what happened? Velocity increases. That is called a screaming 60s. So roaring 40s, furious 50s, screaming 60s. These are the characteristics of the westerlies. Okay. Again, we have discussed already from which direction the wind is coming. That is called the windward, and the direction the wind is moving towards, that is called the leeward. Then wind always measured by wind vane. One instrument is there, that is called wind vane. Through this wind vane we measure the instrument is like this. Sometimes I think you have not seen, or you have seen, or I don't know. Instrument is like this. So wind vane, this is called wind vane. Through wind vane we measure the direction and the velocity of the wind. Again another instrument is there, anemometer. through this anemometer we measure the velocity of the wind. So one scientist, he is a British scientist. He was British scientist. His name was Sir Francis Beaufort. I think you have heard about this Sir Francis Beaufort. So Sir Francis Beaufort, he has given the concept of naming and the measurement of the wind. That means we measure the wind from 0 to 12. That is called a Beaufort scale. Beaufort scale. Actually, this Beaufort, Sir Francis Beaufort, his name was Beaufort. He has first given the concept. That's why this scale named after him, Beaufort, in 1805. So he has invented this 0 to 12, that scale. So according to his scale, 1 knot is the unit of measurement of the velocity of the wind. Knot is the unit of measurement of the velocity. So according to him, 1 knot is equal to 1 nautical mile. 1 nautical mile. That means what? 1.854 kilometer per hour. 1.854 kilometer per hour. 1 knot. Okay. That means 30.9 meter per minute. So Sir Francis Beaufort, he has given the scale in 1805. You please be remember, question comes when he has given this, which year he has given the concept, that is 1805. So 1 knot is equal to 1 nautical mile. That is, knot is the unit of measurement of velocity. That is, 1 knot is equal to 1 nautical mile means 1.854 kilometer per hour. That is 30.9 meter per hour. Sorry, per minute. Now let's see what are the different names of the wind and what is the different scale. So what is the characteristics of the wind will come in 0 to 12. So Beaufort number, first we'll write here Beaufort number. Beaufort number is always from 0 to 12. Okay, we'll see here again here velocity. Again, nature of wind. Nature of wind. Again, impact. Impact means how we can come to know this is the type of the wind. Suppose some winds are there, generally breeze, strong breeze, light breeze, generally calm air, very calm air. So impact. First we'll observe from which actually we can observe the nature of the wind. So first scale is 0. 0 means velocity will be less than 1. Less than 1 knot. Velocity always we measure in the knot. K-N-O-T, knot. So less than 1 knot. What will be there? The nature of the will be calm. Very calm. Okay. What is the impact? Smoke rises slowly. Smoke rises slowly means, suppose you have observed in the chimneys of the bricks manufacturing industries in the village areas. So when the smoke rises slowly and slowly, that means there is less than 1 velocity. Okay, the wind is very calm. Again come to the next 1. That means Beaufort number 1. Here velocity will be 1 to 3 knot. It will be the light air. Very light air. Very light air means just direction of the wind will be shown by the smoke drift. So we can observe, we can come to know the direction the smoke is blowing. From the direction we can come to know, that is, these are the velocities 1 to 3. Next is the Beaufort number 2. So velocity will be 4 to 6. It is called a light breeze. Again velocity, again number 3, 7 to 10. It is gentle breeze. Gentle breeze. So what will come in light breeze? Wind will felt in face. That means we can feel the wind in face. Suppose this hawa of the fan. That means what? We can feel in our face. That means if the wind will, we can feel in the face. That is called light breeze. Suppose we are in the beach area. So during the evening time, sometimes in the morning time, when we feel the air in our face, then we can come to know these are the light breeze. That means velocity is from 4 to 6, not very much. So 7 to 10, it will come gentle breeze. Gentle breeze means leaves are in motion. So when the leaves are shaking slowly and slowly, that means they are in motion. That means we can come to know velocity is 7 to 10. That is gentle breeze. Then let's come to the before number 4. That is 11 to 16. That is moderate breeze. Moderate breeze. That is sometimes dust blow. Sometimes we can see or we can observe in the roadside area, dusts are blowing with the wind. That means what? Velocity is 11 to 16. That is called a moderate breeze. Next is 5, before number 5. That is 17 to 21. That is fresh breeze. So small tree branches sometimes started shaking. So from that small tree branches, we can come to know this velocity is 17 to 21. That is called the fresh breeze. So this gentle breeze, moderate breeze and fresh breeze, difference is that there is velocity is different. 7 to 10, 11 to 16, 17 to 21. So gentle breeze we can feel in our face. Then 11 to 16, that is moderate breeze when the dusts are blown, and 17 to 21 when the small tree branches are shaken. Okay, these are actually different velocity. Then let's see what is in number 6. Velocity is 22 to 27. That is strong breeze. Strong breeze, that is what? Sometimes big branches, sometimes heavy branches of trees are shake like this. So that is called strong breeze. That means velocity is 22 to 27. Okay. Next is before number 7. 28 to 33. That is moderate gale. Before number 8. 34 to 40. That is fresh gale. Okay, I am having this portion because already our concept is clear. Okay, before number 9, that is 41 to 47. That is strong gale. Again before number 10, that is 48 to 55. That is whole gale. Before number 11, 56 to 63. That is storm. That is means if the before scalar velocity reaches up to 63, that means storm comes. Okay. So before number 12, that is the greater than 64. This is the most important. So always question asks in the question in the this exam, what is the velocity of the cyclone? Okay. So if the velocity increases greater than 64, that is called what? That is called cyclone or hurricane. These are the same name. Hurricane in Atlantic Ocean, cyclone in Indian Ocean, Willy Willy is in Australia. Okay. So here what happens? Severe damage. Characteristics is severe damage. Okay. Okay. Let's see the characteristics of before number 7, moderate gale. That is whole tree starts shaking. Not only the big branches or the small branches, whole tree started shaking. That is called a moderate gale. That means from that shaking we can come to know velocity is 28 to 33. Then 34 to 40 fresh gale occurs. That means And walking against wind, we feel some difficulty. Suppose we are taking the umbrella, that means umbrella sometimes it moves upward like this. This is the umbrella. Umbrella is like this generally, but when this fresh gale come, then umbrella, take the umbrella in rain, that is feel difficult. Okay, it just move upward, opposite direction. So again in before number 9, strong gale. So sometimes some damage occurs, some house roofs they blown away. Again in 56 to 63 storm, again 64 hurricane, that is severe damage. So we can't imagine what will happen in hurricane and the cyclone. Okay. So we are stopping here. Again next session, this from this up to, I think up to this classification and the before scale and the measurement of the wind is clear. Again in next session we will be continue with the different classification characteristics and the distribution of the wind. Okay, thank you.